Check, 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 check. Here we are. Hello, everyone. Completely and totally out of sorts right now because I didn't know if I was going to be doing this today or not. But I've actually known for a couple days now that I am. Gotta wait. Audio, video, good. See, I don't even have to say it anymore because I know Zen Ginger's going to come in and say, audio, video, good. Thank you. So very first thing to talk about here today is the title of this stream. It's true. Everything's fine for now. Is that what I titled it? I titled it something close to that. Everything's okay for now. But it doesn't mean that everything's good. You might be confused if this is your first time joining me live. Lisa has been under the weather lately. Not lately, but for a bit now. And she was supposed to have surgery today. The surgery did not happen. It was actually, she got a call, I think it was Monday, that a medication that she is on right now, that she's been prescribed, is something that they are not going to be able to put her under while she's on that medication because she could never wake up again. So we said, well, we don't want that. And so she had to stop taking that medication, let it get completely out of her system, and then have the surgery. So it's scheduled for, I believe it's 2 weeks from today. So the saga continues. She is, it's not like the problem has gone away. It's just that we have to delay the surgery, and that sucks because she just wants to feel better. So feel bad for her. It's been a rough few weeks for her, but and I want to make everybody aware. It's not like she's bedridden and, hospitalized or anything like that. She's up and around and moving slow. She's not, ready to go run a marathon or anything like that, but she's not bedridden is what I'm trying to say. So, she has been doing some things and driving me crazy with things that she wants me to do. But it's all good. So, I don't know what this Vel 178 person's problem is, but I've been looking at the chat so far and there hasn't been a pleasant thing from that person's chat. We're going to have some fun with that one, aren't we? That's just a peach to start off the stream. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I am doing well, making some serious progress on the kitchen, which has nothing to do with fish keeping, but what does have to do with fish keeping, everything's ready. Everything's ready for me to do what I have to do. Starting with this tank right here. I think I've been kind of talking about this the last couple of weeks, but haven't done it yet. And it's because I wanted to get everything in line. And wouldn't you know it? See, ain't that something? Look at this. I'm not talking about the fact that the fish are all in that corner. Look what's not there right now. I have to send a text right now. No, I can't do it because it'll sound weird. I contacted my custom aquariums guy. All right, listen, let me give you the full background here, okay? We moved this tank here 3 years ago. In May, it'll be 3 years. And it didn't seem this way when we first put it in, but it is not sitting level. And so what you can usually see right here is the water is about this low and the whole tank looks crooked and it looks terrible. So I'm sitting here getting ready to tell you about what I'm going to do tomorrow to rectify that. And it's not even there now. It's the weirdest thing. It is there. It's still lower. You can see it. It's not like the tank is moving back and forth. It's not level. And so I am going to be addressing that, excuse me, tomorrow. And then it'll be a non-issue. But of course, Lisa scheduled an appointment for me tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'm a little bit nervous about that. But anyway, how do you level an 8-foot long, 3-foot front to back, and 2-foot tall tank? Well, you drain it out. You take all of the fish, you put them somewhere else. I'm going to put them in a Rubbermaid tub, not Rubbermaid, is it Rubbermaid, the Tractor Supply stock tank? I'm going to put them in one of that, so they'll be fine. I'm just going to take water from this straight into one of those. Not that it needs that, but they're only going to hopefully be in this temporary tank for a few hours, maybe. So I'm not going to worry about putting a filter in there and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but I'm going to put them in there probably over here, close by, and then drain the tank completely. Give me a real good opportunity to really clean things out. You know how it goes. A tank that's not crystal clear, that's not well, the water we want to be clear, but a tank that's not perfectly clean is usually a pretty healthy tank. However, after some time, you start to get pretty sick of that and you want it to look nice. And this tank is, it's a little dingy, so be able to do a really good cleaning on it. I'm going to leave the gravel in it, but I'm going to drain 100% of the water out. And then I'm going to jack it up. I'm going to build a bridge out of 6x6s. I tried to explain this to Lisa the other day because she's going to have to be involved in this. Because it is a 2-person job. But I'm going to build a bridge out of 6x6s that goes through the stand from front to back. I'm going to put a bottle jack on the front and the back. And I'm going to be probably on this side. And Lisa will be in the back because she's little and she can fit back there easier. And we're going to, at the same time, jack it up to where it's level. And then once it is, I'll put shims down in there. Across the whole, all of the feet of this stand, and then let it down, and then it's done. Metal shims, that's a good suggestion. I do have the composite ones. I'm not using wood, even though, they use wood shims for houses. But I'm going to use the composite ones, which was actually recommended to me by Custom Aquariums. But metal shims, that's a great idea too. I just don't have those, but I do have a bunch of the composite ones. And so that's how it'll be. And then the tank will at least be level. And then, had I gotten it yet? I think I did. I think I had it last week. The Aqua Decor background is here. I have not opened it yet because I want to open it and get that kind of live reaction in the video that I do for that. Perhaps I'll start up a members only live stream for not just for that, but for even the leveling of the tank here. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that yet, but so it'll get leveled. I will put the Aqua Decor background in and then fill it back up, put the fish back in. Job is done. Whether I'm going to be able to have all of that done by 2 o'clock, I don't know. But it's just a trip down the road to get my truck inspected. It'll take, it should be in and out pretty quick. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, the truck's only 2 years old, so it has 30,000 miles on it. It's not going to fail inspection. So it should be quick. And then, and that'll be that. And then once the new decor is in there and it's level, then it's going to be time to build the cabinet for the bottom. And then new lights. Got to have the new lights on there, but we don't have those yet. We're saving up the ducats to get those new lights. And once we have them, you can bet they will be on every single one of of my tanks. Lisa has Kessels, so she ain't replacing those, but my 3240s and this tank will all get the new lights. And I'm super excited about that. And then this tank will be done. But I've said that like 10 times. So there you go. What kind of lights? We are bringing in the Aqualife lights. What's that exactly? Most people have not heard of those lights, and I'm hoping to change that because it's a really good product. It is not a, it's not as expensive, even close. It's half the price of like a Fluval 3.0. So it's like that happy middle ground. It's not as cheap as the Beamsworks and the Hygers, which those are good lights too. It's not as cheap as those. It's not as expensive as the Fluval 3.0s or the Lumilights or the Kessels. I mean, nothing's as expensive as those, but they're the best lights on earth as far as I'm concerned. So they warrant that price, but, so they're kind of that middle ground. But the performance of them is not middle ground at all. And that's what I absolutely love. It's a different look than what you get with your Hygers and your Beamsworks and even the Fluval 3.0. I've said it so many times. I believe that the Fluval 3.0, the saltwater version and the planted version, I think they each have their place. I have one of the 3.0s that's the reef version. I love that light. It's not on my reef tank. I've got Kessels on there. It's on my goldfish. Well, there's not goldfish anymore because we put them in there, but it's on my 75-gallon tank over here, and there's only one fish in there right now, and so it's not getting the love that it deserves. But I love that. Like if I was doing a cichlid tank and I wanted the best light in the world, I would get the Fluval 3.0. I'm just being brutally honest with you. I don't think the Aqualife is as good as the Fluval 3.0, but it's daggone close. And when you consider it's half the price, that makes it a whole lot better. So, and then the Fluval 3.0 planted light, holy cow. I mean, forget about it. That's absolutely amazing. I do think the reef one looks better with cichlids and stuff like that, though. That brings out the reds more and the blues and stuff like that. But that's all subjective. That's, you have your tastes, I have mine. But the Fluval 3.0s, they are the best of the best until you get to the elite of the elite. The AT or what is it? API? Not API. It's the aperture ones. It's not ATI either. What is the brand that Jason loves so much? I don't remember. When you get to that level and then the Kessels, like that's the Bugatti level. The Fluval 3.0 is the Rolls-Royce level. Yeah, Bugattis are better than Rolls-Royce. And then I would put the Aqualifes, they're at like the Escalade level. How about that? I don't know. It's just fun. But yeah, AI, there you go. AI Prime. Yeah, those lights, from what I've seen on Jason's tanks, and I've seen them at Aquashellas, very, very good. I think they're amazing. They're at that same level to me as the Kessels. They're, and the Reef Brights. Like, they're up there. They're, big time. The public aquariums are calling them for their super special displays. That's that Pagani, Bugatti, that's that level. And then the Fluval 3.0s are below that. I think the 3.0 is probably in a class of its own. And then you have the kind of middle ground, Aqualifes, and then you can get down to the cheap stuff. The cheap stuff is not bad. I mean, I am a fan of the Hyger lights. I've got them on my 240s now. I'm just being brutal with you. I love the lights. I don't like the company. There you go. That company is doing everything that I hate that companies do. And we're not going to get into all of that. But I'm just not a fan of the company. But their lights are great, especially for the price. They did double the price, though, on us since we brought them in. And that was a little frustrating. But what are you going to do? Everybody's got to make a living, right? So anyway, that's what's coming up. And then the work on the 240s begins. Yes, all 240s. That's going to be another project or another time. Like this one's first, then the 240s. If you're not aware, I am converting my saltwater 240 into freshwater. Not getting rid of saltwater. I'm just downgrading to a 75-gallon tank. The fish that I have left are perfectly fine in a tank that size, and I'll probably get more because I do enjoy the saltwater. It's just I want an Mbuna tank, a Peacock tank, and a Hap tank. That's what I want. And so all of this is coming. I am only one person. I am running a business. I'm doing that. I am remodeling a kitchen. I've got a wife that's getting ready to have surgery. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to cry the blues. It's a lot. And so it might be a couple of weeks before I get to those things. But the good thing is I have everything in place now. I even went to the store. It was either yesterday or the day before. I think it was the day before. And I bought the 10-foot long 6x6, which I'm going to be cutting up to do the jacking of this. And I got a second bottle jack so that I can do this here. I ordered it off of the Devil's website because I wasn't going to be able to get the closest place that would have them is like a Harbor Freight, which is like 45 minutes away. I'm like, that's just not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to get there by Friday. So I ordered it from the Devil and it is here. And there you go. While I was ordering that, I also ordered a big net to get these guys out. Last time we caught these fish was when we moved down here. I have not put them in a net since. None of them. And it was not fun. I had the little 12-inch nets. Well, no, these are 10-inch, but now these are the Seachem nets, which are really rigid. I had the ones that have the twisty metal. You know, I mean, I don't know what brand they are. They're fine. It's not like they're bad nets, but I'd be picking them up and the nets would be bent down. This is not big enough for these fish. They'll fit in it, but it will not be an enjoyable experience for them. So I bought one of the big ones, like that you would use to go fishing. And I'm going to use that to get them out of there. And the bikers, you know, they would never fit in a net like that. So I'm not looking forward to that part. But, you know, the Oscars, I don't think any of them will be hard to catch because I'm not going to take them out until the water is down. So they won't really have a long way to go. But the problem is I'll get on my ladder on this end and they'll all swim over to this end. It always happens. So I'm not looking forward to that part. But it is a long net that I have too. So I can reach down and get them. And they're just going to go from the tank straight down into a holding tank. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Probably I'm looking forward to that less than I am the jacking of the tank, because if you think about the stand that this is on, it's a steel stand. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. The stand weighs as much as the tank does. I put that in the back of my cargo van, the stand in the back of the cargo van, and then the tank was in the back of my truck, which at the time I had a Ram 1500. Both vehicles were driving like this all the way home. My van, I swear, it's a little Ram ProMaster City. It's one of the little minivans, and I swear the front wheels came off the ground a couple times, like it was doing a wheelie down the road. It was scary. That's how heavy that stand is. So when I presented my plan to Custom Aquariums, he was like, oh, I'm not worried about the stand at all. I mean, because it is solid as a rock. It's not like what possibly a wood stand would do. It's not going to bend. When I go to jack it, it's not going to bend. It's just going to stay in one piece. I believe, and I do this with almost everything when it comes to big tanks like this, I think I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. I I don't think it's going to be that bad at all. I think the bridge that I'm going to build is way overkill. I think that it's not necessary for it to be that heavy duty, but I'm not trying to play around with this thing. And I live on 5 acres. I can find something to do with that 6x6. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This is going to be a future Money Pit video too. I don't know how I'm going to do it, or I know how I'm going to do it, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I have on the corner of my driveway, when you turn into our driveway, we have these brick lamp posts. They're beautiful. I love them on either side of the driveway, and there's lights on top of them. I love that. I've always dreamt of having that, and this house has that. Well, one of them is leaning. Everything's leaning here, isn't it? So I'm going to put that 6x6 on the ground at an angle, taking one of those bottle jacks, and I'm going to jack that thing back to level and then pour concrete underneath it. I mean, it never ends, the projects around here. And that's going to be one coming up. Not going to show that on Cage Tropicals. Why would I? But if you're interested in those kind of projects, the Money Pit channel is going to be where you'll find that. It'll be fun. I mean, I hope it works, but that's what I'm going to end up doing. Thank you for the link there, Zen. New Money Pit video should be up next week too, by the way. The doors, not the band. I built 43 doors and drawer fronts, which I'm currently installing into the kitchen as we speak. And the process of building them, sanding them, finishing them, and installing them is all going to be one video. And then I got to tell you all this. I did something in my kitchen. I know this has nothing to do with fish, and you start talking about something that doesn't have to do with fish, that people get mad. You get mad, whatever. I did something in that kitchen that I've never seen anybody do, ever. Now, I'm not saying it's never been done, but I've never seen anybody do it. And I used to be a professional cabinet maker, okay? Never seen anybody do this. And I am really excited to share that on the Money Pit. I think it's going to be its own video. It's an alternative to crown molding around the top of cabinets. I like crown molding around cabinets, but not on my cabinets. It wouldn't fit with Lisa and I's style. It's a little gaudy for what we do. We're not minimalists by any stretch, but we don't like things that are super ornate and super elaborate. Simple is what we like. But I'm not just going to put a flat board up there. You know, that's a little too boring. What I did, I'm not going to tell you what I did, but I've never seen anybody do it ever. And I'm going to say that in the video. I've never seen anybody do this. And there's probably going to be a bunch of people in the comment section that are going to say, what are you talking about? People have been doing that for 20 years. Okay. I've never seen anybody do it. So not baseboard, but close, Regina. All right. I'm going to tell y'all. I'm going to tell y'all what I did. Here's the story. Sorry to snort, but I had to. Our kitchen is a shaker style cabinet door. Now, shaker style doors are very popular right now, but what people do with those doors is not appropriate, because for something to be shaker style, it needs to be very minimalist. That's what the shakers did. Shakers were more about form and function than they were beauty. And that's what made it beautiful. So to put a fancy 4-inch crown up there with all of its curves and all, it's too much. I found a picture of a shaker piece of furniture that I wanted to replicate the molding that's on that piece of furniture. And I found it. I found the molding to replicate that. And it's door casing, not baseboards, door casing. The trim that you would usually put around your door, I put that around the top of my cabinets, and it looks amazing. There you go. There's a shaker village about an hour from me. I know there is. I saw it on this old house 25 years ago, and it's probably the same one because I think it's in Rhode Island, and I know you're up there. You're not an hour from Rhode Island, though, are you? Maybe. I don't know. That's one of the things that got me obsessed with shaker style. There's a Quaker village up there, too. Very similar type thing, Mennonite, Amish type thing. Yeah. Canterbury, New Hampshire. Okay, maybe that's where it was. I don't know. Everything that happened on this old house was always in New England, so, whatever. But, yeah, door casing. But it's not your standard, boring. You're just going to have to watch. It's pretty wild. And on one of them, I have a 60-inch wide, 2 cabinets put together. I put it all up there. And I had to tear it all down and redo it because it was that far off. And I'm not kidding you, 3/8 of an inch off. But that's just the way I do it. But anyway, I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about the way that turned out. And I can't wait to share it with those of you on the Money Pit channel. I don't have a schedule on the Money Pit channel. It's kind of when they're up, they're up. And I have a very specific way I want the door video to be. I want to be able to show them all installed. And they're not installed yet. So everything is leaning here. Welcome to Old Houses. Yeah, that's my house. Quite literally. I have a staircase that's leaning. I have a lamppost out there that's leaning. Yeah. My house will be 200 years old in 5 years. So there's that. I've not got my fish tank yet, but planning to renovate my room to have an aquarium corner for 2 5-gallon tanks. Can't wait. That's amazing. I love that. Are we doing 2 tanks on top of each other, or are we doing them side by side in the corner? Either way you're going to do it is... It's a beautiful thing. Money Pit opened my eyes to the portable centipede. I bought one. You daggone right you did, Joe. Joe, I don't think you were here earlier because you would have said something. Why don't you let everybody know what you think of that Aqualife light? I didn't send him any. I was talking about them. He said, I want those. I said, I don't have them yet. And he said, well, I'm getting them. And I told him where to get them. And he got them. I'm going to let him tell you what he thinks about them. Yeah, that centipede is no joke. It's set up in my barn as we speak. I have to take it down because it's in the way now. But going to get one of those for the hubby. Listen, y'all, if you're on the fence about a gift for your husband, if your husband is a handy guy, the Bora, it's B-O-R-A, centipede, spelled like centipede. Absolute home run. There's a bunch of different sizes. I got the 4x8. Someday I might get the smaller one because, sometimes you don't need that big giant one. But I love it. It's amazing. Okay, hold on, James Smith. So far, I've bought 3 tanks, 2 10-gallon, 2 10-gallon with no sump cutouts, and now I'm waiting for a 320. Wow. No sump cutouts, meaning no, you don't have overflows on there. I feel responsible. I feel that I have the responsibility to tell you that you can drill them. I probably wouldn't do it if I were you, but it can be done. We are no pre-drilled holes. Yeah, it is tricky. So Lisa and I have a plan for her snail system and the plant system. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. Well, we're going to be able to do the snail system in the barn. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do what I want to do with the plants in there, but it's going to involve us drilling like 40. Joe, you didn't have to super chat it, for crying out loud. We're going to have to drill probably like 30 to 40 tanks. But these are going to be smaller tanks, like 20s, maybe some 40s. It'll suck if we break one, but it won't suck like a 210. You know, I wouldn't drill a tank like this, even though this tank was already drilled when I got it. All of my tanks were pre-drilled. Something like that where you're paying like $4,000 for a box. No, I'm not drilling that. I'm going to have the pros do it. But if I go to the 50% off sale at Petco and I break one of the 20 gallons, I'm going to be upset. But I'm not going to be like, okay, we can't eat for a month now. You know, it's not going to be like that. So, but you can do it. Used market has been kind to me. I've said it so many times. I've bought so many tanks used and had very, very good success. One of them, you can't see it. Well, you can see the corner of it. That tank right there, which is, you see it completely full of pennywort and vallisneria and 53B, and there's some crypts, and there's all kinds of stuff in there. Some beautiful angels in there too. Listen, in 2010, Lisa and I, we merged our households. I had been separated in 2008. Lisa and I met in 2009. 2010, we merged our households. We don't mess around. We just get right to it. And about 6 months after we merged our household, I asked, no, I didn't. No, come on. That's 2025 now. I said, hey, I'm going to go get me an aquarium. She said, okay, having no idea what it was that I was getting. And that's the tank that I bought right there. I paid $400 for that tank. It's a 125. It had two AquaClear 110s. It had two heaters. It had lights, lids, and a factory stand. And I paid $400 for it. And the back was painted black. And that tank has never leaked. It's never given me any problems. It's never done anything. It's always been perfect. Why is my iPhone cord in the way here now? It's getting on my nerves. So, yeah, I very much encourage people to take advantage of the used market because there's so much out there. I have to do something, and I got to do it right now while I'm thinking about it. I need to address some things that happened last week, and I forgot, but I got to find it. I did not shout out some super chats last week, and I feel horrible about that. It was where are we at here? It was a busy, come on, YouTube, where is it? It was a busy stream last week, and I didn't get a chance to do this, and now I can't find them. And that's going to really bother me. Because, daggone it. Let's see. No. I can't find it. I can't find them. And I know there was a couple of like larger ones too, like $10 ones and $20 ones. And, you know, they're all important. But I really wanted to thank those people. Let's see. Let's see if it's on. I don't like YouTube analytics, especially when I'm live in front of 44,000 people and I don't know where to look. Listen, I take this stuff very seriously. To those of you who were with me last week and you super chatted and I did not respond to that, please forgive me. I promise you it meant a lot to me. It really did. But last week I was just so caught up in the topic that I missed them, and I feel horrible about that. But today we had Luke Abbott come in $5 with a lemon playing the trumpet and then what looks like a lime putting a trumpet into the lemon's butt. That's what it looks like. Scroll up there and see it. That's what it looks like to me. It's adorable. Thank you, Luke. Brent Russell gifted 1 membership. Thank you, Brent, for that. The whoever it was that was the lucky recipient of that membership. And the 5 from Dennis McKelvey. I think I said it right. Make sure you turn notifications on for memberships in case I do the jacking of this tank live. There's going to be a video. Hopefully, if things go well, the video will go up on Sunday. That will be the lime is beside the lemon, John. Well, it looks behind it. And it looks like the lemon is not having a problem with it. Like he's enjoying it, you know? But anyway, hopefully there'll be a video of that on Sunday or Monday or whenever. 4th of July, I don't know. Make sure y'all stay tuned for that. Finsanity talking about the centipede and then said, John, don't be mad. I boughting 4 more. Squall Life. Joe. As many times as you've emailed me to break my balls, I'm breaking yours right now. Your balls are going to be sore because they're going to get broken. Don't be mad. I broughting 4 more Squall Life lights, but I have more to buy. Just say when. My favorite lights so far. See? And he paid $5 to say that. I don't know why he felt like he needed to super chat that, but thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the opportunity to break your balls. Squall Life lights are really good. I like them a lot. I'm 52 and blind. I'm 51. I'll be 51 in June. I'm blind too. And I wouldn't spell it botting. It's so much fun to pick on people. I don't get to see anybody at all, ever, except for Lisa, which is great. And my doctor yesterday. Wasn't the greatest checkup, but it wasn't terrible either. You know, I don't get to see people. So when I get the opportunity to pick on somebody, especially somebody that lives really far from me, and I'll quite possibly may never meet in person for him to have the opportunity to kick my butt, I'm going to break balls all day long. Odin Aquatics, who is greater, Lemmy or God? Okay. I'm not a religious guy. I do appreciate religion. I respect religion. I think religion is great. I'm not a practicing religious person. But I will not say that Lemmy Kilmeister is or was better than God. I'm assuming it's the only Lemmy I've ever heard of. I do enjoy Motorhead music. I do. A far cry from what I have been on a kick on the last couple of weeks. I have been really, what do the young people say now? Vibing? I've been vibing on some Smashing Pumpkins. Who the heck is Lemmy? The singer from Motorhead. What are you, stupid or something, Joe? I've always liked Smashing Pumpkins, but I've been on a hard, like, that's all I've been listening to the last few weeks. Very, very different from Motorhead. But no, I mean, I'm a fan of Lemmy. I'm a fan of God too. So, I can't say, I don't want lightning to strike me. So I'm going to say God is better than Lemmy. But I'm a fan of Lemmy Kilmeister. Alex Tansky Thanks for all the good information and videos. Love your content. Oh my goodness, you are very welcome. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Smashing Pumpkins is definitely a vibe. You know what? Here's what I know. I've been a fan of Smashing Pumpkins since the 90s. Gish. There is no, they're all right. It's either I love Smashing Pumpkins or I hate them. That's all there is. And most people that hate them don't like Billy Corgan's voice. I happen to love Billy Corgan's voice. I love Billy Corgan. I think he's awesome. I would love nothing more than to meet and hang out with that man. I really would. I just think he's amazing. He's an incredible guy. Even though so many people hate him, it's the things that make people hate him that make me like him. Because he's honest and he's not afraid to say things that might get him in trouble and stuff like that. I love it. But, you know, if you're ever in a bad mood, it's the worst name. Like the Wet Spot is the worst name for an aquarium website. It's the worst name for a song that's ever been made, but the song Mayonnaise, forget about it. You want to just feel good? Just listen to that song. It's one of the best songs to come out of the 90s, and I'll say it to your face, and I won't be embarrassed at all when I say that. Odin again, trick question, Lemmy is God. Oh, Airheads, man, come on, daggone it. See, how did you get that one past me? That bothers me. It's been a very, very long time since I've seen that movie, but I am disappointed in myself that I missed that. Somebody asked me if I've been to Asia, and I'd like to be able to credit whoever it was that asked me that. Korean cardboard. I have never been to Asia. I would love to go to Asia. The problem is the airplane flight. The 20-something hours to get over there. The only way would be if I was in like ultimate first class, which will never happen. So every band from Seattle except Queensryche sucks. What? How dare you? First of all, Smashing Pumpkins is not from Seattle. Maybe I'm jumping into a conversation here that I was not aware of. Just because they came out in the early 90s does not mean they're from Seattle. Billy Corgan's from Chicago. Smashing Pumpkins are from Chicago. Everybody knows that. Come on. But because they came out in the 90s and they were alternative right around the time of grunge, everybody associates them with grunge. And, you know, maybe the rest of the band is from Seattle. I don't know. But Smashing Pumpkins is not a Seattle band, and they're not a grunge band. I think I don't even know what their music is. What style it is. It's not grunge. It's more My Chemical Romance than it is Pearl Jam. And they were 10 years before My Chemical Romance. My Chemical Romance is a clone of Smashing Pumpkins. Anyway, love both of those bands. But yeah, we're getting way off track here. Sorry. Did you do anything to your electrical infrastructure to handle the load of so many tanks on your house older than us both? No, nothing. I have not altered the electricity in our house or in this building or in our barn at all. But I will tell you this. This sucks for monthly expenses, but it doesn't suck when it comes to the level of power that's needed. All three of these buildings are on independent feeds from the power company. In fact, we had it before. It was the weirdest thing. The power was out in our barn, but it was still on here and still on in the house. I was like, wait a minute. How is that even possible? But it was possible because it has its own feed. And There was a fault on the line up on the pole. It was weird. I mean, but anyway, so because everything isn't coming off one line, all three buildings, I think I probably would have a problem with that. But since they're all three on their own systems, I mean, we've tripped breakers in the barn like 3 times. And it was because we were running a bunch of space heaters. Other than that, we've never tripped a breaker in this building that I'm aware of. And I would be aware of it because I'm the only one that would know where the breaker box is. And I don't think we've ever tripped one in the house either. I mean, the electric was upgraded in the house, and the electric was put in the barn in the 90s or possibly early 2000s. So we're good. We haven't had to do anything like that. Smashing is from Chicago. Yeah. I mean, I know Billy Corgan's from Chicago. I didn't know if the rest of the band was. I assumed they were, but. Hey, John, I need a light recommendation for a 3-gallon Wallstead bowl, something around the higher price. No, you don't need the higher price, Andy D. What you need to do is you need to put that in front of a window, and you don't even need a light. And Diana was in this room telling us the exact same thing. Lisa has one sitting in front of a window. If you saw that video that Diana Wallstead, when she was here, she did a bowl with Lisa. They both did a bowl together. And then Diana, I don't know if everybody knows this, Diana gave Lisa that bowl that she did, which was amazing. And Lisa absolutely cherishes it. She put them right in front of the window and they've exploded. You don't need a light. Just put it right there. Let the sun be your light. Bullet with Butterfly Wings. Great song. Mayonnaise is better though. I love Mayonnaise. I love the guitar whistle in Mayonnaise. I love Billy's vocals in Mayonnaise. I love it. I love everything about that song. It's my favorite Pumpkin song, with the only one that could probably come close being Landslide. And Lisa won't admit it, but she even thinks it's better than the Fleetwood Mac version. Early 90s Seattle grunge. Not Pumpkins, though. Somebody mentioned Alice in Chains, and I need to find it, because if it was derogatory... Okay. Oh, it was Whip. Okay. And see, Whip, you have to be a fan of Smashing Pumpkins because you're their neighbor. Whip said, Alice in Chains does not suck. And no, they do not. Alternative rock. Yeah, I guess that's what they're called. Nick Calamito. I really hope I'm saying your name right. I always look forward to your streams. Thanks for helping me get back in the hobby. You are very, very welcome, my friend. And thank you for the super chat. That is very cool of you to do that. And if I have had anything to do with getting you back in the hobby, that's a thrill. I love it. That's the best part about this job. Jacob Marshall became a member. Welcome to the team, Jacob. Let me get back out. Lisa called out John. Uh-oh. Is she in here? I never said that Fleetwood Mac's version is way better. No, I think you said it's good. I think you know. We have seen Stevie Nicks perform that song live, and it was amazing. And I love her version of it, but I love Billy's better. I'm sorry. I just think it's better, and I've never said anything different to you than that. I've always thought the Pumpkins version was better. If anybody here is a Smashing Pumpkins fan, this is what I want you to do. It's a fascinating video, and it's just, I was telling Lisa about this one the other day, which I think it was the 3rd time I told her about this. I've been a Billy Corgan fan my whole life, basically. I mean, I was like a junior in high school when they came out with Gish, and I mean, I've been a fan of them ever since. I'm also a fan of the YouTube channel that's called N.W.L. Don't do this now because you're watching me, and I don't, my ego needs you to stay here. But when you're searching through YouTube and you need something to watch, I just think it's fascinating. Type in N.W.L. Billy Corgan. It's wild because N.W.L. is a guy that travels all around. I think he's pretty much staying in Florida now, but he travels all around the country and he goes to notable areas. He goes to areas that are historic. He goes to areas where, movies were filmed. He goes to all kinds of stuff like that. And he goes to this place in Texas. It's this small town in Texas that has a courthouse. And outside of that courthouse is a gigantic tree that was the tree that they used to institute the death penalty to people back in history. And I think like 70 people, not all at the same time, were hung from that tree. And so he goes there to film this. And then just out of nowhere, you see N.W.L. sitting in a restaurant. It looks really awkward. And he's having lunch with Billy Corgan, just out of the blue. And it turns out that Billy Corgan was doing the exact same thing. He was traveling the country, making videos at these notable places, and he happened to be at the same place on the same day as N.W.L. And so they sat together and they had lunch and then they filmed a few things. And it's just really cool. Like, that never happens to me. I don't know why that never happens to me. I wish it would. But anyway, it's really cool. It's a really neat thing to see that. I love 1979 and Rat in a Cage. Ben, that song is called Bullet with Butterfly Wings. Come on. But you're right. Those are both amazing songs. Best female rock singer, Pat Benatar. Oh, I don't think I can argue with that. I don't think I can. She is absolutely a banger. We going to talk about fish at all today? I mean, hey, I don't know. But, Alanis, but she's not the same. I think I would probably have to agree. I don't think anybody can touch Pat Benatar from a rock music standpoint. Are we hiding the soda can with the Stanley so we don't ask what you're drinking? No, it's just my pineapple drink in here. And it's, I didn't bring any sodas out here today. I should have, but I did not. I grew up in Florida, and my dad took me to the area where Tom grew up. So cool. Tom Petty? Florida, Tom Petty has to be. Big fan of Tom Petty, too. Tonight Makes Me Smile video was amazing. See, we're all in agreement here. Smashing Pumpkins is amazing. It is an acquired taste. And I believe somebody asked me, have I seen his podcast? I'm actually in the middle of the episode with Corey Feldman right now. You all interrupted that. I was watching that and enjoying it. Here's the thing. I'm a huge Billy Corgan fan. Like I said, I was in a band in the 90s and we did Cherub Rock. I mean, and that was, I wanted to do that. Like, I suggested we do that song. Cherub Rock's a great song. Billy Corgan's, I don't know if he's a podcaster because he's like, what's his name? Bert Kreischer. He talks too much. and he turns everything around to be about him, where it should be the guest. Like, he's a great guest on the podcasts, but I don't know if he's a podcaster. I'm going to give him a chance though, because I love the man, but I just don't know. I don't know if he's a podcaster, because I think he might be too egotistical. And you know what? He's probably worth $300 million. He's one of the biggest rock stars from the 90s and still touring to this day. He's a big deal. He should be an egomaniac. But that's why he should be a guest. He's a great podcast guest. But as a host, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. Would you recommend a pearl gourami in a planted tank, Community 55 with mollies? See, I'm not the guy to ask about pearl gouramis, because I'm going to tell you, yeah, why not? I don't see a problem, particularly since you said a pearl gourami, not 12 of them. I don't think it's a problem, but then again, I think I would probably not listen to me on that, because I don't know if I'm right or not. Ben Ochart hasn't said another thing since I picked on him for getting the name of the song wrong. Ben, I didn't hurt your feelings, did I? Or is something just wrong with my chat? Because it seems to be moving really not normally. All right, let me try this. Then I'm going to refresh this. If anybody has any... Oh, yeah, there's been a lot that I've missed. I don't know why that happened. Something jammed up in my chat. Last week was a lot of fun, and I have no particular agenda tonight. So if anybody has any suggestions, you want to check out some websites, you want to check out some products or something, I love the new system on the software that I use. It makes it real easy to bring, do the screen share and all that kind of stuff. Let me know. I'll look stuff up. I had fun with that. Aren't gourami territorial? They can be. I mean, similar to betas, but that's why I said if you don't have a bunch of them. Rick Beato is a great interviewer of bands and such. My favorite. He has multiple interviews with Billy Corgan. And listen, I told you I'm on a Smashing Pumpkins kick right now, so that's why I keep bringing up Billy Corgan. Everybody that Rick Beato interviews, he's amazing. I love that guy. Carole King over Joni Mitchell, Tapestry album. See, Jerry, you're a little beyond me right now. That's before my time. And I know that's probably blaspheme, because Joni Mitchell is, and Carole King are such legends, but I can't tell you that I don't know how familiar I am with those. Lisa says, I love Joni Mitchell too. Okay. Well, maybe I just don't know, what it's all about. Corey Feldman rocks with Fred Durst. Isn't that cool? I love that Fred did that. Is it because he feels bad for him? Because I feel bad for him. I'm sorry. I feel bad for Corey Feldman. The guy's really trying. He's really trying. And it's cool that Fred gave him a shot. The Woo just went to South America. See, I was wrong. I thought, because I'm a YouTuber, my channel is around the same size as Adam the Woo, I thought we were cool. We're brothers practically. We were practically best friends. And I think it was 2 years ago, whenever the last Aquashella was in Orlando, Uh, Adam the Woo lives right there. Like, he lives in Kissimmee. I mean, he puts it out there. Like, everybody knows, if you're a fan of him, you know where he lives. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, I don't know if you're looking for something to do, whatever date it was, Saturday, but, it's this aquarium event. It's a lot of fun. It's a cultural event. There's cool stuff there. And, I'm a YouTuber just like you are. And I could get you in if you want to come out. And he never answered me. And I was hurt by that. It hurt my feelings that he didn't even respond. And I was like, so that's what it feels like. Damn it. So much classic rock is being talked about in this. I could go on this all night. Janis Joplin, not a fan. Sorry. I'm just not a fan. I am not. Hart, big fan. I love Hart. Joan Jett, sure, absolutely. Lita Ford or Joan Jett. How about both in the Runaways? That's even better. Aretha Franklin, best ever. Pineapple and what? Huh? Not even close. Pat Benatar for the win. Pat's strong. Tool, Perfect Circle, Pussifer is my favorite band to come out of the 90s, but the late Chris Cornell is the greatest voice to come from that generation. Better than Chester? Better than Lane Staley? I think Chris Cornell's voice was God tier. Elite. One of the absolute best. But Chester, woo. And Lane, that guy's voice puts you in a trance. Beta or Honey Garami for beginner. Either one. But KDP, if you're starting with a really small tank, even though the Honey Garamis are small, your beta will be your best friend. Honey Garami's not as much, but yeah, I would go beta. You have a lot more variety. Honey Garami is a Honey Garami. They're adorable. They're cute. They're yellow. But betas, you can get anything. But Whiff's World, I do agree on Tool and Perfect Circle. I'm not a Pussifer fan. I'm the biggest Maynard James Keenan fan in the world. Anything he touches, I like. If I was going to drink wine, I would drink his wine. I love that guy. That music just is weird to me. It's performative and it's weird. I just don't, I don't know. There's never been anything that has hit me from that band. But Perfect Circle and Tool, forget about it. Love them both. Fish tank from a symphony to another acquired taste. Yeah, sure. Whether you talk about fish or not, John, one thing I really appreciate about hanging out with you is that you're cool with being yourself, which makes me feel like I can be cool with being me. That is the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I made a video, it was like 4 or 5 weeks ago, where I said, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to be myself. And I think, Jacob, my whole point is, and it's not my ego talking. I don't have an ego, but I would like people to want to come here and hang out with me and Lisa for a couple hours. Who cares what we end up talking about? Maybe we're going to talk about, is the replacement lead singer for Alice in Chains any good? Like, we might talk about that, or we might talk about Pat Benatar or how bad Janis Joplin is or was. Or we might talk about websites that sell fish for 2 hours. I don't know. So that means a lot. Thank you, Jacob. Hello, everyone. 90s are back. 90s bands that were popular have figured out that there's no money in album sales anymore. So they go touring now, and it's amazing. And if I was interested in going to concerts, I would go. But I'm not into that anymore. Especially when you can just watch some guy film it from his iPhone, and it's perfect. And you can watch like 5 of them in a row. I met Corey Haim and Keith Coogan. Who's Keith Coogan? I'm going to look that up. I don't know who that is. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. Yeah, I know that guy. I mean, I don't know him personally, but yeah, I just didn't know. He was that guy from that thing. You know, I didn't know who he was. That's cool. Tragic story. Corey Haim. It makes you appreciate Corey Feldman even more, that he didn't suffer the same fate. He made it out. And even though he still believes he's Michael Jackson trapped in Corey Feldman's body, it's good to see that he did not fall like Corey Haim did. It was very sad. I mean, in my day, those guys were gods. Feldman more, because he was in so many more movies than Haim was. I love Disturbed, Sound of Silence. Oh, that is. I'm going to tell you something about that. Scharfenbein. Okay. Lisa and I were having a conversation one night, driving. I don't know where we were driving from, but it was a long drive. Corey Feldman made it out, but he's loonies than a cuckoo bird. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Lisa and I were talking about remakes of classic songs, and we probably talked about Landslide. That's probably when she admitted to me that the Smashing Pumpkins version is better than the Fleetwood Mac version, even though she would consider that to be blaspheme. But I told her, well, yeah, but what about Sound of Silence? And she was like, what's that? I said, wait, what? Okay. So I played her the Simon and Garfunkel version, and it's adorable. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It makes you feel all happy and silly and goofy. And then you listen to David Draymond's version, the Disturbed version. She hated it. I seriously, if we weren't driving, I would have been looking up divorce attorneys. I'm not kidding you. I mean, I would have, because I've never been so hurt. I've never been so crushed, because except for, there's been a lot of remakes that are better than the original. I'm a country music fan too. And as hard as it is for me to say, Garth Brooks' version of Shameless is better than Billy Joel's. And I'm the biggest Billy Joel fan in the world. Faith Hill's version of Take a Little Piece of My Heart, or whatever that stupid song's called, way better than Janis Joplin. You know, Janis Joplin's only popular song. The Sound of Silence from Disturbed is so much better than Simon and Garfunkel. I don't care what anybody says. It is absolutely incredible. And see this woman, this is what I'm telling you. This is why I considered hiring Matt Murdock, because she said, I don't like his voice. How? What? It's just so good. Don't cancel me, but I'm not a Billy Joel fan. You're canceled. Ban him. Take his mod away. Now, I grew up listening to Billy Joel with my dad in his van on 8-track. Yeah, 8 tracks. He had an 8-track of Glass Houses, And I became a Billy Joel fan then. I've seen him, I think, 7 times in concert. Love Billy Joel. Absolutely. And he's one that I would go see again. Garth Brooks is better than. Sammy Hagar did Piece of My Heart the best. I have not heard that. I love Sammy Hagar. The best version of Van Halen, by the way. It's not even close. Have you watched the new Daredevil? Yes. All of it so far. I am a fan, for sure. It's reminiscent of the Netflix days. I like it a lot. They didn't show Frank enough. Maybe he comes back. That's my guy on that series. So I saw Billy Joel live once. He's awesome live. Took my daughter. She was like 6. She danced the whole time. That was the last time I went to see Billy Joel. Love that guy. And Garth Brooks' version of Shameless is better. I'm sorry. It just is. Strait or Jones, my favorite Georges. Ooh. If I had to pick one, I would pick George Strait. I love George Jones. I sat second row center stage in Nashville for a George Jones show. He was amazing. This was in 1994. And he was really old, but he was still really good. And that was great. I've never seen George Strait in concert, but I think George Strait just has more hits. I agree. I love Disturbed. I mean, Sound of Silence, I was a fan of Disturbed for 20 years before they did that song. I've been a fan of them forever. The song Prayer, still to this day, it's in my top 5 songs of all time. It really is. Primetime has live stream in an hour. You won't get Jason to talk about music. I don't think Jason and I have ever talked music. I don't know. He probably listens to like Run DMC or something. Run DMC is great, but I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know what he's into. I do know what he's into, but I don't. We don't talk music much. FYI, I bought an aquarium for my nephew because my sister is going through a divorce. That is a good uncle right there, Juan. I love it. That's an amazing thing to do. Yeah, that's cool, especially if you help him out with it. That's great. I think that's a beautiful thing to do. Keith Coogan played on Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, and he is Uncle Fester's grandson. Okay. Yeah, that's one of those names. There's a documentary out there that's called, like, it literally is called, like, You're the Guy from That Thing, or like, hey, you're that guy from that thing, or something like that. And it's all these actors that it's like, aren't you that guy? Yeah, I've seen you before. It's really good. So good that I can't remember the name of it, but he's that kind of guy. It's like, oh yeah, you. I met somebody that way, and I can't remember his name. And it's funny. It was when I was a police officer. I met an actor, and the whole time I was talking to him, I knew he was an actor, but I didn't know, like, I knew he was, but I didn't know who he was. And it was driving me crazy. And then we had a nice conversation. He was just talking to me like a tourist would. And then he left. And I called the officer that was at a door that I knew he was going to be leaving because all the public left. And I said, hey, man, there's this guy. He's like 6'4", really pale-skinned white guy, bald, and he's wearing a pink shirt. Stop him and ask him his name. He's a police officer. You can do that anytime you want. And so he did. And but he wasn't a jerk about it. Like he told the guy, hey, the officer you were just upstairs talking to swears he knows you from somewhere. His name is something. I'm going to tell you his name right now because he was in Minority Report. It's not Tom Cruise. Knock it off. He's one of the cops trying to track down. Oh my, how am I spelling right now? It's like something O'Patrick or something like that. Okay. I'm going to find it right here because I'm on the good old IMDb. Is it Patrick Kirkpatrick or something like that? I'm going to find it. It's coming. Hold on. All cast. No, I don't want to edit the cast. What is wrong with me? Okay, here we go. Patrick Kilpatrick. Is that it? Yep. Patrick Kilpatrick is his name. Super cool guy. And, I did not talk to him at all about his job. I talked to him about the Capitol and, we were just there. And I had to find out what his name was. And he's a really cool guy. Def Leppard was my favorite band before anyone knew who they were. On Through the Night was my favorite album, and that album cover was so cool. I, too, am a very big Def Leppard fan. I believe I've seen them in concert a lot of times. It's at least 3, but maybe even 4. I saw them on the... What is the oh man, the Do You Want to Get Rocked? What's that album name? Whatever that album was, I saw them touring on that. And then I saw them like twice after that. I didn't see them in the Pyromania or Hysteria days, which are the 2 best albums they ever did. But yeah, I love them. They're amazing. I also prefer the original Sound of Silence, and my husband likes the Disturbed version. We also almost got a divorce too. That's hilarious. Yeah, Lisa loves the Simon & Garfunkel version. And listen, that's not a bad song. But the Disturbed version is so much better. Metallica Turn the Page is better than Bob Seger. I'm a huge Metallica fan. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think I've ever heard anyone refer to Simon & Garfunkel's Sound of Silence as a happy and silly. You know what I mean, though, Whip. The way they sing is just so dainty and so fragile, and it's just so sweet and cute. And David Draymond is like, you know what I mean? He's like with authority. He's singing that, and it's like from his gut. And those guys are just like, la, 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 la. You know what I'm saying? It's just that happy, hippie 60s, flower child song versus the hard, Wait a minute. Did Ben Ochart come back? Because I see somebody put his name in there. Again, check out Billy Joel at Belmont U. He invites a student on stage and they perform New York State of Mind. That's amazing. The last 3 times I saw Billy Joel, it was actually kind of unfortunate because he opened with the song that he probably should have closed with. Now everybody's going to think that's Piano Man. No, he always closes with Piano Man, which he should. But Angry Young Man is my favorite Billy Joel song, and it's not even up for debate. And he opened with that. and the piano would rise up out of the stage, and he would go going, and it was just amazing. I love that. And so it's like, when you open with your favorite song, it's like, all right, well, what are we going to do for the rest of the 2 hours? But it was still great. Billy Joel. Yeah. Jim Gaffigan. I caught Rick Savage's guitar pick in 1984. Wow. I caught the drumstick from the drummer for REO Speedwagon. I don't remember his name, and then I lost it. I just got back into the hobby after like 7 years. I'm so happy to be back into it. Welcome back, Sharf and Bean. All right. You want to know what pops into my head when I read Sharf and Bean? Franks and Beans! I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of your name. But if you know, you know, one of the absolute funniest scenes ever. I'm a big Metallica fan, but I'll also be the first to say they're a bit overrated. Don't ban me. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. Something about Mary. Yeah, I mean, everybody knew that. That wasn't really a hard one. That was a softball. Favorite Metallica song? Welcome Home Sanitarium. That's mine anyway. After that would be Fade to Black, Creeping Death, Sad But True, everything off Ride the Lightning. Yeah. The entire Ride the Lightning out. Okay. From Master of Puppets all the way to the Black Album and everything in between. That was their absolute prime. And that's everything. Everything they did at that time. Every single one of those albums I can put on, listen to them front to back, and not even have any songs be something that I don't like. They're all incredible. Call to Cthulhu is my favorite. That is great. That is a great instrumental, insane, like, yeah, I'm with you. I saw them during the Injustice for All tour. I saw them in 1992 with Guns N' Roses and Faith No More. Top that. RFK Stadium. It was the longest day of my life, and if I'm being honest with you, I don't know how I survived it. Because we got there at like 10 a.m. We didn't leave until like 2 a.m. because Axl Rose. And I stood in one place in July in the direct sun from 10 a.m. until 2 a.m. And I never drank or ate anything. I was also 18, so that helped. All right, Murdoch, I'm not going to argue with you here. Switching gears for a second, Elton John is one of the greatest of all time, and I'll say it to your face. I adore Elton John. Always have. I'm 50 years old. I've been to a lot of shows. I saw him on what was called the Face to Face tour, which was an incredible show, which was him and Billy Joel, and they each had their guitar. Really? They each had their piano, both grands, of course. Elton's being white, Billy's being black, facing each other, and they did each other's songs the entire time. I don't remember who it was, because this was like 20 years ago, but one of them came out first and did like 4 songs, and then the other one came out and they did the rest of the show together. And I was just like, this is the best thing I've ever seen, ever in my life. It was amazing. And they did each other's songs. It was an incredible show. I say it again, AC. Oh, hold on. I hope this is going to go where I want it to go. AC/DC all the way. Well, and Rammstein, saw them in Germany. Okay, it did not go. Is it Rammstein or Rammstein? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just don't know the name of that. I'm not an AC/DC fan. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. I've just never been a fan of that band. I'm sorry. I know it's blasphemous. I'm not a Beatles fan either. And if I'm going to be real with you, I think the Beatles suck. I probably just lost half my audience. I've never heard a Beatles song and been like, wow, I can see it now. I get it now. I get it why everybody is freaking out. Jerry Goebel's probably like writing YouTube a letter saying, you should get this guy off of here for saying what he's saying about the Beatles. That generation, they looked at them as the best. I don't get it. I think the Beatles were bad. I'm sorry. I don't like them at all. But seriously, why is nobody bringing up Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin? I mean, they're both God tier. I'm probably a bigger Floyd fan than I am Led Zeppelin. I know that probably sounds ridiculous to a lot of people, but Rick Beato just unsubbed. That's so funny. Is he a fan of the Beatles, though? He probably is. He's in his 60s. So, yeah, he probably is. Goodbye, John. How dare you? I mean, listen. Eventually, people are going to start to be honest. And they're going to be like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, the Beatles kind of did suck. I don't like the Beatles either, but suck. Okay, all right. Tell me what is a great song by the Beatles. Other than the one that Ferris Bueller sang on the float, I don't know. I'm sorry. It's just not my thing. Rammstein. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm an idiot. And see, I like so many different kinds of music. I really do. I mean, Lisa could tell you, I am very eclectic in my choice of music. I listen to everything under the sun. I've never understood the whole thing with the Beatles. It's just never. Elvis, I get. Elvis is God tier. Elvis is one of the best. Strawberry Fields? Really? That song is dog shit. I'm sorry. Yellow Submarine. Are you really going to try to tell me that's a great song? It's a great song for when you're in kindergarten. I'm grown. That song is so stupid. I've never got it. I never made sense to me. Genesis, yes. That makes sense to me. That's a group of gentlemen with extraordinary talent. John Lennon, all due respect, great songwriter. I'm just not into the Beatles. I'm sorry. The Ramones, hardly any talent. Coolest looks ever. Made all their money on merchandise, but they remind me of the greatest part of my life. It's so true. And you know what? That is, it's so true. I wouldn't say they have hardly any talent, but they are not your stereotypical, they don't have the talent of a Jimmy Page or an Angus Young or, but they knew how to put together a song. It's kind of like Green Day, even though they've lost their minds now. They're not extraordinarily talented. They just know a good song. They know how to put a good song together. The Beatles, not so much. Maybe good for 1960, but now, I'm not into it. Chicago, Richard Salter. I'm going to tell you a little something. The very first concert my parents took me to a lot of concerts growing up. That's the very first concert I ever went to was Chicago. And it was during the Peter Cetera days. So I too am a Chicago fan. Not a fan of Chicago sports teams now that MJ's not there. But a fan of the band Chicago? Yep. Love them. I don't like them. I don't think they have a great song, but music is like art and can't really be quantified. It's whatever speaks to your soul. Whip's World's getting all philosophical on us. Come on, Whip. You're taking this too seriously. No, I agree. I mean, everybody likes what they like. I don't like what I don't like. I've never been with it on the Beatles. I've tried. I really have. I was listening to something one day and people were talking about Sgt. Pepper's as the best musical album that's ever been put together of all time. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got to listen to that. I've never listened to it. And it was like, I felt like that little kid from iCarly. I was like, what is this poop? I couldn't stand it. I thought it was the dumbest thing. And I'm sorry. I just never, no. Did you ever have a mohawk, John? Did you listen to any punk bands? Listen to a ridiculous amount of punk bands. I never had a mohawk though. My parents wouldn't let me do that. They would have kicked me out of the house if I did that. You want to hear about a punk band. I think I told this a long time ago. I think I might have told this story in a few weeks ago on a live stream. I went to Cedar Crest Country Club, which was a skateboard ramp back in the 80s. Legendary skateboard ramp. Tony Hawk went there. It was a really big deal. And they would have bands play every once in a while. And I was there one night on a Friday night, sitting on the bridge that went across the decks of the ramp, listening to the band. I don't remember who it was. And the whole show, I was sitting next to Ian MacKaye from Fugazi. One of the highlights of my life. Didn't say one word to him. Other than, it was like, yeah, there was no conversation. But that was a really big deal for me because I was like, oh. So, yeah. Back in that day, I was a massive Fugazi fan, Descendants, Bad Brains, all the DC bands, Black Flag. Yeah, I'm in. But I never had a mohawk. Beatles were great. Come on, John Lennon's Imagine. Okay, first of all, that's John Lennon, not the Beatles. I said John Lennon was a great songwriter. Imagine's a good song, sure. But that's not the Beatles. That's John Lennon. Phil Collins and his drummer are the real deal. Love Phil Collins. The song Take Me Home from Phil Collins, not Genesis, but Phil Collins. My absolute favorite Phil Collins song. And that might be a deep cut. I don't know. I don't know if that was ever released. It probably was. It was really popular. So John, what you thinks is Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath? What you thinks is Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath? I love them both. Seen Ozzy multiple times. Never saw Black Sabbath, but saw Ozzy several times. Saw him, Danzig open for him one time. Every time I saw him was with Zakk Wylde. There's no way my mom would have let me go see him back in the Randy Rhoads days, but sorry. But I actually got splashed by the buckets at an Ozzy show one year. if you don't know what I'm talking about, he would always grab a 5-gallon bucket of water and just throw it on the crowd. Not the bucket, but throw the water. And it was amazing. And I got hit by that water one time. And it was cool because I was like, I just got splashed by Ozzy Osbourne. Oh no, my chat did it again. This is insane. I gotta bring it back up again. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I don't know why YouTube keeps doing this to me. They're like, hey, you're a fish channel. You're not supposed to be talking about, and we don't like the way you're talking about the Beatles. So you got to go. David Allan Coe and Pantera. Rebel meets Rebel album. Are they together? I didn't know that. I never heard that. Misfits over Danzig. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I saw Danzig with Ozzy that one time. Never got to see them with the Misfits, but yeah, I would put him with the Misfits 100%. That's when he was in his prime. I think he lost his mind when he went solo. But the cool thing about Danzig, the credit that I will give him, he's a good showman. And when he came out, he was the opening act, but it's Danzig. I mean, it's kind of a big deal. Opening acts for Ozzy are always a big thing. He came out, he opened the show with Mother, which is like his most successful song. Halfway through the song, he went down into the crowd and never went back up on the stage. He was walking around in the audience through the entire show. He played for like 30 minutes. And he was just in the crowd the whole time. And I was like, that's cool. He never got near me. But yeah, I thought that was really neat. Did we all forget RHCP? What's RHCP? I'm sorry. Just RHCP. Why am I not thinking of that? Aerosmith and Nirvana. I hate Nirvana, except for maybe 2 songs, and I love Dave Grohl until I found out he cheated on his wife. So screw that guy. But I've seen Aerosmith multiple times. Love Aerosmith. Met Steven Tyler. Yes, I did. I've told that story too many times. But I like In Bloom, and I like Something in the Way. Okay, maybe I like a few Nirvana songs, but I just couldn't stand Kurt Cobain. I thought he was a whiny B word, and it just really bothered me. And the way he decided to go out, that bothers me too. So screw that guy. Red Hot Chili Peppers, sure, I'm into them. I like Chili Peppers. There's been a lot of chat freeze in the last couple of months. I think there've been updates and making everything screwy. That makes sense. Maybe it's never happened to me, but I've also never really just been exclusively in the chat. I've always kind of done my own thing, so maybe I haven't seen it. I have a signed picture of Dimebag as well as a signed Dean guitar. Oh, that's a sad story. That's a sad one. And it makes me sad to think about that. Temple of the Dog. Hey, I'm a fan. I was a fan of that little collaboration that they did. I mean, it was members of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. Come on. And Mother Love Bone too, right? I can't remember. I do not like Nirvana, not even a little bit. I really dislike Guns N' Roses as well. Well, I don't think you have good taste, except for the Nirvana part. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, and Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Absolute gold. All 3 of them. I know Axl was an egomaniac, but Rush, yeah, Rush is as good as it gets. And see, that's what's funny to me. It's like everybody talks about the Beatles are just this god tier band. Not one musician, and there's only 3 in Rush. There's you could combine all 4 musicians. I'm not talking about songwriters. You know, is there anybody that's going to make an argument Neil Peart versus Ringo? Come on. What a joke. As far as bass players go, is anybody going to put McCartney over Geddy Lee? I don't think so. And why am I drawing a blank on his first name? Alex, it's not Alex. Alex Lifeson. You think Harrison's a better guitar player than him? Give me a break. Come on. No. The musicianship in Rush, 3 members, it's not even close. Neil Peart's probably the best drummer that's ever lived. Rest his soul. And Danny Carey. But how are people going to say the Beatles is one of the best bands ever if they've heard Rush? How are they going to say that? The Beatles were pioneers. Pioneers of poop. Pioneers of bad music. Sorry. I understand a lot of people are probably going to hate me for that, but I'm just not into it. Like my mom would write me out of her will if she heard me talking right now. But Rush, the best drummer of all time. Danny Carey is the greatest living drummer. I cannot disagree with that. The drummer from Sleep Token is next level. But no, I agree. Danny Carey, nobody can touch him right now. He's at the highest level, and it's not even close. John Bonham was great, but he is no more. So, yeah, Danny Carey. Neil Peart, if he was still with us, I would say he's the one. There's a lot of great drummers. I mean, I've been a fan of lots and lots of great drummers. But Neil Peart is the best to do it. And Danny Carey, now, forget it. John Bonham, Ginger Baker. Yes, I would say Lars Ulrich. I'll say it to your face. I don't care if you're a drummer and you've been drumming for 50 years and you think Lars is the worst. I disagree. You probably also think the Beatles are the best. And this is why you and I will just never agree on music. Lars, he's like 60. So he might not be that guy now. But back in the day, in the Injustice for All days and the Black days, and forget it. I mean, that guy was elite. And I'll say it right to your face. The only people that disagree with that are drummers. See, Nick says Lars is trash. How dare you? Come on. Def Leppard, Rick Allen, one arm. Hey, you got to respect it. You absolutely have to respect the fact that he can play from one arm. The guy from Slipknot. No, the Slipknot has 3 drummers. But Joey Jordison would be like their main drummer, until they kicked him out, which I think was a mistake. But yeah, he's great. I mean, I'm definitely just the speed at which he plays is not like anyone else. Ginger Baker on White Room changed drumming. Ginger Baker that's a pioneer. Forget about it. Joey, did Joey pass away? But he was not with Slipknot after, like, he was away from the band and then passed. But he wasn't with them. Right? Wasn't he like kicked out and then he died? Something like that. The drummer for the last band I was in, a huge Beatles fan and a huge Metallica fan. I mean, how could a drummer be a fan of Ringo Starr? Ringo's kit was like a hi-hat, a tom, a bass drum, and a snare. A 4-piece kit. It's just stupid. You put Ringo, watch a highlight of Ringo, if there is such a thing, and then a highlight of Ginger Baker, and tell me Ringo was a good drummer. It's just stupid. Best drummer threw up in my mouth a little bit. It's just insane. It just makes no sense. Phil Collins was a better drummer than Ringo. 100%. 100%. Come on. CCR. Who brought up CCR? That's a kick Lisa was on for a while. I've been a fan of them for a long, long time. But yeah. Lars came up with the backbeat. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Lars is a good drummer. Is he Neil Peart? Is he Ginger Baker? Is he John Bonham? No. But is he Joey Jordison? No. But he's really good. Austin Archie from Lorna Shore, best drummer ever. I've heard Lorna Shore. I mean, I don't hate them. I don't know enough about them to really know. I don't know. Lars Early was amazing. I'll say it to your face. Yeah. That's what I just said. Up Through the Black album. I mean, come on. You talk about Kill 'Em All, Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, and Justice for All, Black. That's world-class drumming right there. I don't care what anybody says. I'll say it to your face. Phil Collins was a legit, fabulous drummer. He was. He's not playing drums anymore. And you know who else is a good drummer? Dave Grohl. But screw that guy. The band Boston has. Now, see, that's another. I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't think they had the success of a Rush, like the longevity and the, Rush has probably sold 100 million albums. But Boston was another band like that where they were all exceptional musicians. Incredible. Brad Delp's one of the best vocalists that's ever lived. Tom Scholz, incredible songwriter, guitar player. Forget about it. I mean, that band, incredible. Love them so much. Kansas is another one that doesn't get talked about as much as Boston, but exceptional musicians, all of those guys. Dave Lombardo is another amazing drummer. Yes, Dream Theater is, that's a masterclass in musicians. Every member that's ever existed in Dream Theater is like the highest level you can possibly achieve. Brad Delp. Oh, I was so crushed when he passed. And the way he did it too, it's like, come on, man, really? Why? I love that guy's voice so much. Okay, wait a minute. I missed something here. One of my aqua clears is barely pumping. I cleaned it out. Can the motor still work but be weak? I thought they just died. It's over 10 years old. I see what Zen Ginger responded with. And it's very true. You cleaned it out, Leslie. But did you? Because you need to remove the impeller because there's probably some gunk and gook and gross in there that's impeding the impeller. That sounded really scientific. That's what I would do. But hey, listen, if it's been 10 years, you've got a good run out of that. Kansas is my dad's favorite group and also mine. I'm not a huge concert guy, but one of the few I've been to is Kansas and Styx together. That's amazing. Especially if when you saw Styx, they had Dennis DeYoung. I'm not going to tell all of my Styx stories because I've done it too many times. I love Styx with Dennis DeYoung. Not as much. It's just like, I think, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on the little guy that took over for Steve Perry. Journey with him, they sound great. They sound like classic Journey, but it's not the same. He is a Steve Perry clone, and he's great at it, but it's not Journey. Real Journey with Steve Perry? Oh, come on. That's as good as it gets. And only been to Styx and Journey concert. Journey with Steve Perry. Steve Perry is another one. I would put him at 2. And then there's probably 5 more that I would think of that it just depends on what day you talk to me. But Steve Perry is magical. I love that guy's voice. Not as much as Dennis DeYoung. I agree. I can't get into Journey without Steve. What is his name? What's that young fella's name from the Philippines? Arnell something. His story's incredible. They found him from karaoke. He was singing karaoke, and somebody filmed it and put it on YouTube. And it was Neil Schoen, I guess, or one of those guys saw it and was like, we got to go get that guy. Arnell Panetta or something. That's an incredible story. But it's not Steve Perry. You can't rule out Carl Palmer. Why does that name not ring a bell to me? Dennis DeYoung did to Styx what Peter Cetera did to Chicago, ruined the band. Chicago had some bangers after Peter Cetera left. But you are right. I mean, Peter Cetera had a really successful career after Chicago too. He did all the soundtrack stuff and all of that. I mean, he was super successful, but no, I mean, I agree. Neither one of them had the same success. And if you listen, if you hear Dennis DeYoung's version of the story, you might not think what he did to Tommy and JY and it was not all his fault. And I think they might have done him dirty. Steve Perry, I don't know. I don't remember the story behind that, but yeah, I think Dennis DeYoung got done wrong. The Tommy Shaw songs with Styx are great, but they're not the Dennis DeYoung songs. It's kind of like the Mike Shinoda songs are not the Chester song. Like, if Chester's not in a Linkin Park song, it's not the same. Anyway. Cheap Trick, Debbie Harry, Lou Reed, and Iggy Pop in Rock and Roll. Okay, I'm with you. I never really got the Iggy Pop thing. He's a wild man. Even Freddie Mercury, once steering an interview, was asked what it's like to be the greatest singer of all time. He said, I don't know, ask Steve Perry. That's hilarious. I've never heard that. That's really cool. And that's Freddie was a world-class singer. I mean, he's up there. I mean, all you got to do is watch the real version of him doing Live Aid. I mean, wasn't that like his last show? Absolutely incredible live. And that's the thing. Steve Perry, like Joe Perry. Why did I say Joe Perry? Because that's the guitar player from Aerosmith. I meant Joe Elliott. When you hear early Def Leppard, like from High and Dry, Pyromania, Hysteria, you'd be like, Joe Perry's a damn good singer. And he is. But when you hear him live, it's like, ooh, that man had some studio help. You hear Steve Perry live? Wow. You hear Brad Delp live? You hear Freddie Mercury live? Whoa. Those guys didn't need a lot of effects at all. And so I respect that. And Freddie, at that Live Aid version, at that Live Aid show, that's just world-class vocalist right there. Bon Scott. Who said that? Who said that? I saw it. Leslie Perry. Okay. I've already established I'm not really an AC/DC fan, but I'm especially not a Bon Scott or Brian Johnson fan. I just don't like that sound. I like the Billy Corgan sound. I like Stevie Nicks. I like people, Tom Petty, that have these unique voices, but those just never really did it for me. But Rainbow Richie Blackmore, one of the greatest guitarists of all time. He's up there, sure. Would I put him up above Eddie Van Halen? No, because that's my generation, and I would have to put. I mean, Eddie will always be God tier to me, and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Joe Satriani and Yngwie Malmsteen. There's a lot, but Eddie's the king for me. Just because I love Van Halen. Randy Rhoads, Steve Vai. Randy Rhoads was exceptional, but he was only here for a short time. And then some dummy had to kill him in a plane. You know, it's sad. If Randy Rhoads had not perished in that plane crash, I think he would be, without question, on the list of the greatest of all time. Eddie's son, Wolfgang No Slacker. No, he's not. He's incredible. Van Halen or Van Hagar? Van Hagar, 100 times out of 100. I enjoy Van Halen with David Lee Roth. I enjoyed him with Gary Cherone. But it's the Sammy Hagar years for me. 5150, forget it. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. Geddy Lee, another unique voice. Yeah, I like his voice. I like a lot of unique voices. Not Bon Scott and Brian Johnson, though. Those guys just don't do it for me. Meatloaf, Schmeatloaf, double Beatloaf. I hate Meatloaf. Not the musician. But as we close things down, what is that from? That's an easy one. Y'all have seen it 100 times. I despise REM and YouTube. There, I said it. Did I just say YouTube? U2. I like U2. I met Bono. He's a little teeny fella. Very briefly, it was like, hey, how you doing? Thanks. But I'm a fan of U2. REM, I mean, whatever. I could do without him. Jimi Hendrix or Jimmy Page. All right. You want to close things down with some more controversy? It's not the first time I've said it. I don't get it with Jimi Hendrix. I don't get it. Was he a great guitar player? Sure. But is he better than Yngwie Malmsteen? Is he better than Jimmy Page? Is he better than Eddie Van Halen? Is he? I just don't. It's his death that turned him into a god. People talk about Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin. They talk about all of these people. Kurt Cobain. They make them saints when they died. I'm not saying Jimi Hendrix was not a good guitar. He was exceptional. I just don't see how he is looked at as the best of all time when there are people like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and Yngwie Malmsteen and these people that make their guitars talk. It just doesn't make, I don't get it. Jimmy was considered the best left-handed guitar player. Yeah, and he played a right-handed guitar upside down, and I get it. That's fine. That's cool. But it's like Phil Mickelson playing golf left-handed when he's actually right-handed. That's the way he learned. That's all he knows. I'm not saying Jimi Hendrix was not a good guitar player. I can't play guitar. I can't play it because I can't bend my wrists. So he was very good. But he's not as good as any of those people that I just said. He's not as good as Eddie, not as good as Yngwie, not as good as Stevie Ray Vaughan, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, all of those. It's good, but not the god that everybody makes him out to be. Okay, folks, I could talk music all night long. And I apologize that so many people came here to hear fish talk. We talked about fish for 30 seconds. And then we talked about music for the rest of the time. Kurt Cobain was great before he died. Same with Chester Bennington and Michael Jackson. Chester Bennington's career was 20 years longer than Kurt Cobain's. Kurt Cobain was around for 4 years, and then he offed himself. So I don't get that. And Michael Jackson was the biggest musician of all time for 40 years. I mean, dude was on stage when he was 8. So I don't get the comparison, Robert Johnston. His music was popular before he died, sure. And they probably sold more records than Linkin Park. But Chester was, yeah. Kurt Cobain could not touch the talent that Chester had. Maybe not in songwriting, because I don't think Chester wrote any of the songs. I think Shinoda wrote all the songs, but Chester's vocalism was God tier compared to that idiot Kurt Cobain. Anyway, I do not want to step on Jason and Joanna's toes. They're going to talk fish, and it's going to be amazing. So everybody go hang out with them. You don't have to click any buttons. You'll just automatically go over there. I am sorry for not talking fish tonight. It was not planned, I promise. This is why I like to have a plan when I do my live streams. Otherwise, we didn't even talk about movies. I mean, there's so many things I could have talked about that are not fish. I didn't mean to do that, but it just happened. Sorry about that. I will be back next week, and I will have a plan because I will not be going through the whole week thinking, well, I'm probably not going to be able to stream anyway Thursday night because Lisa's going to have her surgery. I don't have that next Thursday. The Thursday after that will be that again. We'll see what happens then. But next week, I'll have a plan, I promise. I don't want to take any more time away from Jason and Joanna. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. And yes, the Beatles do suck. They always did. They've always been terrible. Just deal with it.